Okay, so hello everybody and good afternoon. So my name is Louis-Edouard Lafontaine. I'm a master student under the supervision of Eugene Siriani. Um, so for today's demonstration, I'll be presenting Gentleman, a lightweight web-based projectional editor generator. So the plan is the following. First, we'll cover the background and then we'll take a look at Gentleman's core characteristic. Then we'll dive into demonstration and conclude with future work and questions. So in the activity of model-driven engineering, we more often than not find ourselves working with language workbenches. Language workbenches allows us to efficiently define, reuse, and compose language and IDEs. They offer a model editor, which will be of interest to us, that will enable users to manipulate their models and using a domain-specific language. Here we have popular language workbenches such as from the Eclipse community, Xtext and Sirius, MetaEdit Plus, and Atom PM as graphical editors, and MPS and the whole platform as projectional editors. So those editors can be classified between two types. We have parser-based editors and projectional editors. In parser-based editors category, we have first the most popular version, which is a freeform editor. So this is the case as Xtext, where the programmers find themselves editing a program on a blank canvas. Then the parser come in, scan the program, validate the grammar, and gives various cues as to where there might be syntactic errors. Now, this model has been enhanced by syntax-directed editor, such as the case more often used in graphical editors such as Atom PM. In those editors, we use incremental parsing, where only the modified portion is parsed and validated. So with a much shorter loop, we have more feedback, and so we're prone to make much less syntactic errors. Now, on the other side, we have projectional editors, and projectional editors do without the parser altogether. So there's no parser needed. The user will directly interact with the abstract syntax tree. By having such a close relationship with the AST, we can support multiple notation that would not be easily parsed, as tables, mathematical formulas, graphics, really anything that can be rendered on the screen can be used as a projection. We can also do composition of any language without introducing syntactic ambiguities, something that, again, that would be very hard with a parser-based solution. So here we have examples for both of these type of editors. Xtext as a candidate for parser-based editing. So we have the canvas, the user is typing, basically offers syntax coloring, auto-completion and such. And on the right, we have MPS as a candidate for projectional editing. And here you can see the user having to type, but only on very specific areas, which are actually projections of the AST nodes. Now on to Gentleman. On the right, we have a domain-specific editor for editing mind map models generated with Gentleman and running on the browser. So Gentleman, first and foremost, is a projectional editor generator, meaning that the workflow usually involves language engineer defining a model, and with the help of a designer who will also define the projections, this will generate the editor that will be used by the domain expert. The core characteristic of a Gentleman is to bring a lightweight solution. By targeting the web, we now open up the editor to a much wider audience, not specific to any platform. And so because it's the web also, we don't need any installation. We just open up the browser and we can start running it. It's also very easy to integrate, as we'll see in the demonstration. It offers a minimalistic design, as we can see on the image on the right, just a single toolbar and a wide open canvas for your editing. Gentleman also integrate with eCore, so we can define the meta model in eCore and bring it, import it in Gentleman, and then define and use projection against it. The opposite can also be done, where you would define your meta model in Gentleman and bring it to eCore for your own activities. Now, before we go in the demonstration, I'll just cover the core components of Gentleman, which are concepts and projections. So concepts really are they come from the domain-specific language meta model. They can be represented as either a primitive, just like in UML and eCore. So you have the string, the number, the Boolean, and such. The prototype, which implement inheritance. So you can define reusable structures that can be used by the concrete concept, for example, which are akin to concrete classes. And then finally, we have the derivative concept, which allows you to specialize a concept. And for example, that can be used to define enums. So you could have a derivative of a string concept with restricted values. Now, those concepts are put in relation with each other through attributes, and those attributes allows you to define constraint or augment the concept. Now, of course, the second component is the projections. So the projections They allow you to define representation of the concept. So anything that you will see and interact with in the user interface, those are your projections. They are used in Gentleman. We use command element found in graphical user interface design, and we believe that this is very important because when we have specific elements for the UI, the user can quickly scan the element on the screen and better understand it and better use it also. So we have the layout, we have stack layout, the wrap layout, table layout. For the field, we have the text field and binary field. So that's really what you would expect. The text field, it would be a text box. A binary field would usually render as a checkbox. Projections also leverage web technologies. So we use HTML5 widgets and CSS styling, usually in the form of CSS classes. And you can even go as far as to do animation with it. Now we'll go over the demonstration, and I'll just open up the browser. There it is. Okay. So this is the home screen of the editor, so to speak. So when you don't have anything started, this is what you're presented with. You can either start creating a concept or you can start creating projections. So for today's demonstration, I'll be creating a very simple projection for editing a conference that really has only speakers. So first we'll have this first editor for the concept, and we'll open up a second one for the projections. Now here you can see the global concept that are available to us. For the concept part, we again have the prototype concept, concrete and derivative. And for the projections, we have the template, layout and field. So first we'll concentrate on the meta model aspect. We'll just create two concrete concepts, one for the speaker. So we'll give him a name, and a speaker will usually have himself at least two attributes. Let's just say the name and age. So the name will be a string. So that's what we will target as the concept will be a string, and the age will be a number. Let's restrict it a little bit. We'll have a minimum value of 2 for the name. Let's say we don't accept name over 100. And as for the age, we want everybody to be major. So let's say we have 18. There it is. Now we'll go over the second part, which is conference. And here we'll have a list of speakers. So as you can probably guess, the list of speakers will be a set, and a set of speaker. So here, what's provided to us here is actually provided as a reference. So if I were to change here, for example, speaker person, you would see it automatically update here, as it's a link between the two. So I'll just revert back to speaker. That makes more sense. Okay. Now we'll go over the projection. So for the projection, we'll first create a layout. The layout will be layout for the conference, as this is where it will begin. So here the binding is done through the use of a name. So we will use the same name for associating the projection here to the concept defined on the left. We'll also make this projection global, as we want it to show up here and to be used later on with the generated editor. So it will be a stack layout. Like I said, the stack layout can either be horizontal and vertical. For this one, it will be a vertical layout with first defining here some text, and the attribute will be, of course, here the speakers. So we can again take the name, speakers, put it right there. So this is it. Now, as you can see here, as we're going to proceed, this might be annoying to have such a wide thing open in front of us. So here we are presented with this icon telling us that there are multiple projections available for this. And by hitting the Alt button, we can now shift to another projection for it. And now this is much cleaner. We know the name, we know the attributes, speakers and name and age. So let's go ahead and create another projection now for the speaker. Just the speaker here. We'll come in here and say wrap layout. Let's go with the stack layout instead. So let's say vertical. We'll say first every speaker will be introduced with the label speaker, and then we'll have a layout for both of the attributes. So let's say this is a wrap layout. After that, to say that first we have the name and followed by the age. Let's check if everything is fine. Here we'll define a tag, since this will be actually used in a list. we must tell the editor that this will be actually a list item. So now that we have this, we can go ahead and check again. Everything's all right. We have the conference here. We have the speaker. So now we can try and build. Here we're presented with a temporary editor that will show us how it would quickly look by simply bundling everything up. And we can see here we already have everything working. So checking on time, we can also even enhance this because we want to later on use it with good styling. So let's say for this one, we'll say that this will have a style, we'll add a class. So this will be a title. Here, we'll come here and say that this will be a speaker title, and this will be a speaker. Okay, as you can see, by the way, when I'm editing this, you can see this becoming orange or green, just to indicate whether or not there was change. And when it becomes green, tells us that it's valid. So let's build it again. So everything seems to be working just fine. So we'll go ahead and export this. Now we have downloaded this, the model behind this, and we can reuse it. So for this demonstration, I had prepared this page to show integration of Gentleman in an editor. So this, I'm just going to quickly show that this is the page, this is the code used by the page, and all I did was really add this attribute data Gentleman right here, and this is what shows up right there. So open. We'll go in downloads. I believe it was model 1, and there we have it. So this gives us the full, the integrated generated editor actually, and now we're just gonna show a more complete version of this model. We're gonna import another one in. Just go in Gentleman. We'll go into samples, and there it is. So this more complete version will give us also access to also the talks. So the talk here could be defined by simply saying Gentleman, and as a speaker would be, for example, this is my name. Of course, the validation is kept. So if I were to say 12, the minimum allowed is 18. So I could go ahead and say 20. Here, I had defined also values. So this is the demonstration of enum. So here we can only enter those restricted list of values. And that's about it for the demonstration of the tool. Now just revert to. There it is. So future work with Gentleman will include providing an API based on the language server protocol for even better integration with language workbenches. We also want to add a model explorer, as now we have the model editor, but more often than not, you find yourself working with static models, for example, for documentation purpose. So you might want to have a model explorer that is specific for exactly for this activity. We'll also revisit the semantics of undo and redo to have even better value navigation. We're also gonna have integration with HTML templates, so that we can reuse already beautifully crafted HTML templates that are out there. So Gentleman is also open source and available at this address. And that's it for my presentation. Thank you. Now take questions.
Thank you very much. I think we have